What's crackling, everybody? Welcome back once again to the definitive cereal tier list. Where each episode, we take a cereal, put it on the tier list, so you know how good it is. I'm your host, Tucker. In this episode, we're going to be doing Kashi's Cinnamon Harvest. Now, last episode, we did their autumn wheat cereal, which did get a D, but worked, I think, better than a lot of the Frosted Mini Wheats have because the just autumn flavor, sugar and natural flavors, was sort of in the piece instead of just a layer on top. So it is a D, but I think pretty pleasant, I think, was sort of how I was thinking about it as I went on. This looks to, checking out the ingredients list beforehand here, just be that plus some cinnamon. So that seems like it could work out pretty okay. And maybe this will finally be the Kashi that gets a C, because we've had a couple close ones, but nothing quite yet. But let's just open it up and find out. Yep. Okay, not as smooth as the last one. Oh yeah. Definitely smell the cinnamon. Hearty cinnamon, not like a sweeter, at least scent-wise. Okay. Oh. Okay, so the last one sort of looked like all over. But this you can, like, in some parts tell that it was sort of like wrapped in. I don't know, even if I zoom on this, will you be able to see it? But it's like closed, some of them. Not all of them though, where it's like you close the book and or like you're making a quesadilla and the cheese spills out. Happens to me a lot. That's sort of what it looks like. So it doesn't look like it's sort of all over the wheat, just sort of in the middle, I guess. We'll find out as I eat it. Okay, I think I put in a bit more milk than last time. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So, it is off the scent. I thought it wouldn't be super sweet, but it does have that sweetness. By the end, you're sort of getting sort of like autumn cinnamon sort of flavor that you'd think of with that. That's sort of what this leans towards. I'm kind of into it. It does feel like the wheat feels a bit drier. Maybe it's because I'm only thinking about sort of the end of the last bowl, but yeah, it just feels like a bit drier. So two things are happening because of that sort of dryness compared to autumn wheat. First off, you are starting off with a bit more crunch than those were. Like I mentioned last time, started dry to when fully absorbed milk changed like this. This one you're starting higher up. But the second thing here, the soggification seems to be both quicker and stronger than what's happening with autumn wheat. So that's, a bit of a bummer. I thought that it worked out pretty well last time. But that's part of what's making me think that maybe this just has the flavor inside and not coated all around like that did. So that's too bad because I thought that really worked well. Now it's time to see what sort of cinnamon flavor I can harvest from this milk. Yeah, it's definitely there, getting that sweetness and the cinnamon, which I think is distinct here, not mixed in. Yeah, it's reminiscent of the pieces, so pretty down with that. Sort of like the last one, not truly stand out as either a positive or a negative, but pretty alright. I think the cinnamon in these pieces worked fairly well, but I never really tasted much of the harvest. So now that we've done two Kashi cereals that are very close to each other, I can kind of do some more direct comparisons here. So I think this one compared to autumn wheat, solidification much more of an issue than it was there. So that was a bummer. But I did sort of like the cinnamon addition because, again, I thought the sort of base simplicity of the autumn wheat flavor worked pretty well. This has added some cinnamon in there. So it's a little bit, I don't know, more interesting, I guess. Not necessarily better, but just more interesting. So that's a win for it. So got some plus and minuses going on here, which is always a rough time. But what I think I'm going to do is give Kashi's Cinnamon Harvest a D. Same rank as, again, all the frosted mini wheats and autumn wheat before it. But I think compared to autumn wheat, I feel a bit more okay giving this a D than with that one. Just because, again, that solidification issue. And it just feels like there's like a time window. I think I mentioned this with like the cinnamon roll frosted mini wheat as well. There's like a window there where it's like at its best, where it's a bit too sort of dry at the beginning, and when it's fully absorbed on the milk, it's a bit too much. So there's like that window where it's real good, and if it had been like that for a larger window period of time increase there, that I think would have helped it a bit. I don't know if it would have pushed it like for sure above something like autumn wheat, but I think it would have helped. And really the biggest bummer for me, I think, is that it seems like they switched to the sort of frosted mini wheat style. The wheat's its own thing and the flavor's its own thing. And the autumn wheat showed that really works well when you sort of combine the two. So I hope future Kashis go back to that and not just do sort of a bit of sandwich of cinnamon. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and subscribe, and in the comments below, post your general thoughts. Let me know if you've tried Kashi's Cinnamon Harvest, if you're a bigger fan of it than the autumn wheat, or maybe you like this much less than autumn wheat, and you can sort of compare the two. Maybe you got similar feelings as I do, maybe you don't. Either way, you can share all those thoughts in the comments below. And if you're like a cereal architect or something, and you have an idea as to why they didn't sort of mix the flavor into the wheat like they did with autumn wheat for this one, you can share some theories about that too. But until next time, stay delicious.